and off we go.
Okay, welcome to our webinar with SRK Accounting, who are dedicated to your growth. Both me and Andrew are from Lifestyle 180. And on today's webinar, we are going to cover some basic tips on how you can create a business to fit around your lifestyle. Because it's very easy to get into business building and just get stuck in your business. And me and Andrew see this a lot when we're working with small to medium-sized businesses. And they're very similar mistakes that people make that over years we've kind of figured out ways how to help business owners avoid these traps and kind of conceptualize how to build a business so it really does fit around their lifestyle. Just before we go into the webinar, I just wanted to spend about 5 minutes going over both Andrew's and my story of how we got to where we are today. So I started as a fitness professional and was working like very long hours, 6 in the morning till 10 at night most days. And although it was good money, it became very tough to kind of work them hours and build a business on my own. So I decided to try and build a business beyond me, and that's where I started to really figure out how to build a business. It was tough at the start because I really didn't know what I was doing. But over time, as I hired mentors myself, coaches, read books, I got to the point where I did manage to hire staff and learn some very easy to use but hard to implement systems that really allowed me to grow my business to where it got to in the end. I ended up selling my business, my first business, about 4 years ago for a good chunk of change, and I've been business coaching ever since, so about 4 years to this date. I'm going to just bring Andrew in and he's going to share his story of how he got to where he is today.
Cheers, Nicky. Yeah, look, my background's slightly different in that I started in finance. I worked in finance back on the Isle of Man, looking after the portfolios of the rich and famous. That got me interested in business. But working for someone else, there was always something more I wanted to do. You know, I had that entrepreneurial want that we all have as business owners, and I ultimately ended up going into having my own fitness business back on the Isle of Man. Built up boot camps, had 6 locations. Needed help and assistance myself, so that help meant me looking out for a mentor myself, a business coach. And long story short, an opportunity came up for me to move to Perth in Australia to run fitness businesses. Along that path line, because of my experience in business, I fell into a role as a business coach back in 2011. And that prompted me to come back to the UK to pursue that further. Got to know and meet Nicky. We both had similar interests. We both had similar challenges as being business owners, and we wanted to bring that to a wider audience. Hence the build out and growth of Lifestyle 180. So excited to be here to talk through this important subject, which is close to both our hearts today.
Yeah, as you can see, we're both coming from actually the background of having built up a small business and selling it on for a profit, and really helping you guys with some of the wisdom that we've learned along the way. We don't claim to know everything, we certainly don't. But if there's anything you can take away from this webinar or any of our other teachings or coaching, then we just would be amazed to help you along that way, right? So we're gonna dive straight into what we're gonna cover today. So there's 5 major topics we're gonna cover today. Number 1 is gonna be why start with the end in mind. Again, I started totally the wrong way, and over time learned how to do it the right way. But most businesses will probably start by just probably not wanting to work for someone else or needing more money, and they'll kind of go into setting up their business with absolutely zero business skills, right? They'll be very good at their job, whether they be a plumber, a trainer, a decorator, but they don't really have the business knowledge or the business kind of acumen to make it work, and they get stuck, right? we're going to show you a way how you can start from the top and then reverse engineer all the numbers back to conceptualizing your business, right? It moves on to number 2 is how to calculate how much money you really need. Next, we're going to cover how to reverse engineer your business plan. And we're going to show you why you don't need to really write a big, massive dissertation of a business plan. It really only needs to be on 1 or 2 bits of paper. And then we're going to talk about the work, rest, and play formula, why it's really, really important that you build your lifestyle alongside your business and not wait until you've built your business to start living your lifestyle, all right? Because your life's going to run out. And we're going to show you how to do that by building your business and lifestyle together, which is point number 5, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to cover today. You should have this on a recording. So what we recommend is just watch the whole thing first, and then just go back section by section and start taking action and doing some of the things we ask you to do, right? Okay, so starting with the end in mind is one of the most important things you can do. Like I said, I started just by being a trainer and then going out and thinking my business was going to build without no real targets. And it takes time, right? So you've probably been in business for a while. If you're watching this and you know, like a month in business is like, it's like a 100-meter sprint, right? It goes really, really fast. And here's the thing, right? None of us are going to live forever. I did this drill about 4 years ago, and I've been teaching it ever since. And it's really an eye opener to a lot of the people that come to our seminars at the start, right? Because the average person only lives to the age of 76. So what I want you to do is kind of just write down your current age and deduct it from 76. And that's how long you've got left to live, right? Now, a third of that time is going to be sleeping anyway. So at this current time of this recording, I'm 40 years old. So I'm just going to do the maths based on my number. A third of that time I'm going to be asleep, which gives me 24 years of time left on this planet while I'm awake, right? And if I calculate that into how many days that is, that's 8,760 days I have left to live, right? Now, when you actually put it down on paper and you actually work out how many days you've got to live, I always ask the question, is that enough time? And the answer is hell no, right? There's no way. When I look at that number, and every day this is what I tend to do, and it keeps me motivated, I'll just minus 1 day, right? So tomorrow I've got 8,759 days to live, right? Just by looking at that number. And again, if you've been in business and you do work it by the numbers, you'll be really in tune with the importance of numbers and how they drive business decisions. It's no different with your life, okay? The point being with this drill is whatever you feel like you're scared of or fearing, or you've got all these ideas in your mind, but you haven't taken action, now's the time to take action, because you're not going to be around forever, just like everyone else. We're here for a limited amount of time. So we need to put all of our fears behind us and actually just start getting to work on what we really want to achieve out of life. Andrew is a little older than me, so I'm going to bring him in. Yeah. How many days have you got left to live, and what does this do for your motivation?
I tell you, seeing your number there, Nikki, it frustrates the hell out of me to a degree. My number is 7,300, so it looks significantly less. And when I see that gulf between, the 7 years between us, but seeing that in days, like you say, it drives you to take action. And as you know, when we're coaching clients, they're more often than not, and hey, I was in the same boat. You always think, right, I've got enough time. I'll leave that to doing that big overseas trip, that time spent with family, towards the end of your life. But hey, we don't know how much time we've got on this earth. So why not go through this drill and then start planning and putting into place now, the things that you want to do, start that bucket list today. And you'll have a much greater life for it. But yeah, there's a little gap between the days that we've got, for sure.
Well, we're going to get to our goals no matter what. But the point being is whatever you want to do, both work-wise and more importantly with your life, seeing family, like Andrew said, taking holidays. Too many people that we see from a business coach perspective, the thought process is, when my business is done and it's ready, it's making money, I'll start doing all this stuff. But until that point, I'm just going to work. And we've seen people do this for 20 years and their business gone bust, and they've just wasted 20 years of their life, right? So no one really knows what's going to happen in life. So you want to try and live like day by day, week by week, month by month. And as I said on the agenda, we're going to cover why it's so important to build your lifestyle alongside your business. This is the reason why. And it's really important you do that, right? It's a much more enjoyable process when you do that. I think the old Chinese proverb is like, it's not about the destination. The journey is more important than the destination. And it's true, right? And when I sold my first business and I look back, I was working towards selling that business. And I thought once I had the money in my bank, that would be the greatest day. That I've been working so hard for. It took me about 7-8 years to get to that point. But on reflection, I look back and it was a very short term moment of joy. The actual joy actually came from the journey. Actually, the struggles that I had to get over, the people that I had to help, that was actually the fun part. But I didn't know it until I had actually sold my business. So this time around, much more in tune with actually enjoying the process of building a business. And like I said at the start of the webinar, is if any of our wisdom can help you, then that'll be awesome. And this is one of the things I learned along my journey when I sold my business. I know Andrew sold his business and he had very similar thoughts. Andrew, you just want to go over what your feelings were when you sold your bootcamp business?
Yeah, look, it's you build this business up and it's your baby, and it's difficult, as I'm sure. I'm not a parent, but I'm sure it's the same when you see your kids leave home. There's a sense of not loss, but there's an emptiness there. And as I say, as entrepreneurs, we love what we do. We have that passion. And we want to be continually being able to do things. But I think it's important just to mention as well, the reason Lifestyle 180 is the name of our business is that, yes, business is important, but we want you to switch your focus around 180 degrees to focus on the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is you. The business is there to fund that lifestyle that you want to lead, both for yourself, your family, friends, or whoever's significant in your life. Hence why we're putting this on for the guys at SRK today.
It doesn't really matter where you are right now, right? Whether you're in your business all the time and just can't see a way out, or your business is kind of going well, but there's some tweaks that you need to make, or you're just starting out in business and there's a lot to learn. It doesn't really matter. Me and Andrew, like we were them people, right? We didn't know nothing other than we were really good at what we did, and we had to learn this along the way. So this is I think being a business owner is a learnable skill, and obviously like creating passive income is a learnable skill. It just takes a little bit more courage than intelligence, I would say, right? Sometimes like the people we see that don't succeed too much, they over intellectualize things a little bit too much and don't do the things which take courage to get to that next level. But it's all learnable and it can be doing today. Hopefully you can start creating a business that suits your lifestyle, or we call it building your business version 2.0. And this is where it starts. It all starts with how much money do you really need? So when me and Andrew do some seminars, one of the first questions we ask is how much money do you want to make? And we get a wide range of answers, right? And normally, hey, I want to make millions. I want to make 5 million. I want to make 10 million. I want to make 100 million. And we're like, okay, can you tell me why? Okay, what are you actually going to spend that money on? And they start listing, we'll list this out as they're doing it and say, I want to have a house worth this much, car this much, blah, blah, blah. And we tend to break it down into monthlies. And what we find is we tally all that up, and very rarely does it top £200,000 a year, right? And that's a high figure, right? So it's really important that you actually know how much money you want your business to make, because you can't really develop your business plan without this number. Okay. Just from experience as well, if you want to build a multi-million pound international business, that's all good. But you're going to have to take that stress that comes with it, right? If you don't want to build that kind of business and you just want to have a good life, I mean, like one of the things we and Andrew say is, what can't you do with £20,000 profit every month? If you were to get paid $20,000 a month, there's not much in life you cannot do with that. And that works out to about 240,000 a year. So $250,000, right? So you just got to put things into perspective as actually how much money you really actually need. And this is one of the tools we use. Both me and Andrew have done lots of personal development work along the way. And one of the things that we always were told to do is build your dream lifestyle, right? What does your dream lifestyle look like? And put it on like a vision board. And that was good. It does work to an extent, but as you start to build your business towards working towards your dream lifestyle, what you find, or what I found, was like 6 months down the line, a year down the line, it's just so far away from reality that it kind of demotivated me. So we decided to sit down and think, how can we actually break this down to make this more achievable? And we came up with this little tool, right? So how you work out your how much money you really need is to actually list out what your monthly expenses. This has got nothing to do with your business. This has got everything to do with your lifestyle, right? And we start with actually what your current level of expenditure is. All right, how much does it cost to live your current lifestyle? We're going to give you this sheet as a thank you for watching this webinar. You should have got it already. If not, just email us and we'll send it to you. But in each one of these boxes, just write down how much monthly does it cost you, approximately. It doesn't have to be exact, on each part, each one of these headings, right? If there is a heading that is not in there that you spend money on, just stick it in anything else. For example, if you have, let's say your current cost of living is £4,000 a month, and you know your net margin or your kind of net profit is around about 25%. The next thing you want to work out is actually how much does it cost you from a business perspective to make that £4,000. Okay, so if your net margin is 25% and you need to get £4,000 a month out of your business, then we need to generate $16,000 a month in sales to actually get £4,000 out for you, which will cover all your costs, right? So now we know what size, how many sales do we need to make to match the level of income of your current lifestyle, right? Which for a lot of people, they don't get to. And this is why probably the hardest part is getting to the current level, right? Now, I'm not talking about active income. I'm talking about building a business. So your business pays you £4,000 without you actually having to do the technical work to get there. Okay, very different from active income. The next level is what happens if you were to upgrade your lifestyle by just a little bit, right? So you go on a better holiday. Okay, you have a better car, you buy a bigger house. What would that cost you? And I'm not talking about dream lifestyle here. It's just about the next level. For example, if the next level for you was £6,000 a month, and we still worked on the 25% net profit, then it would cost you £24,000 in sales to hit that goal, right? You would do the same thing for happy days level. Why we call it happy days level was just like, if someone asks you how's life, you'd say happy days, life's good, right? So it's not actually your dream lifestyle, but life is very good at that point. And then you have your dream lifestyle out there, right? So the first thing kind of we ask people to do is write down your numbers. You got to know your number if you want to build a business that can support your lifestyle. Otherwise, you end up just stuck in your business. And like we said on the previous slide, years fly by super fast when you're trying to develop a business. So you really got to know your numbers. Andrew, how have you found working with this sheet? And when you give it to your clients, what kind of things do they tell you?
It took us a little bit of time, guys, to narrow it down to this, because it can be, you can overcomplicate things whenever you're doing it, and we wanted to scale it right back, as Nikki says, so that we know that one thing, that one number that you need to address, and then knowing what your margin is, as in this example, the 25%, you can see what you need your business to generate to help you achieve it. And when we're doing this as an exercise with clients, it's almost as if the penny drops for the first time, that now I get it. Now I understand the importance of knowing my numbers. And they get, the guys get excited, and then they start, the creativity and the dreaming comes into play of, right, so I've got the current level, what the next level might be. It might be going from let's say a 3-star hotel to a 4-star hotel. It might be upgrading the car, putting the kids through private school instead of having them go to secondary school. But it becomes so much clearer of what those numbers are, and then reverse engineering it back, we can see, well, to do that, you need your business to generate X amount. So it's been a big eye opener, I guess, for the guys going through this exercise. And we encourage each and every one of you on listening to this webinar to do the same.
Yeah, this is a really important drill for you, anyone who's going to run this drill. And like Andrew was saying, is when you actually have the number in front of you and you actually break it down, like we're gonna show you on the webinar, it actually becomes a reality, right? When we break it down into small targets, it becomes achievable. Unlike the dream lifestyle, which is like getting that £10 million house or staying in crazy hotels, it's just so far out your reach that it kind of demotivates you on a day-to-day level. But I can get to the next level, right? I can upgrade my car, I can upgrade my house, and that could take me 1 to 2 years, which is much more achievable, and it drives me, it motivates me to keep going. I was saying to Andrew before that we started the webinar, I was like, if you don't have motivation, then the competition is going to kill you, right? Because they're going to have motivation. So one of the key things is to stay motivated, and we're going to kind of touch on that as we come to the work, rest, play formula. But initially, before you really conceptualize your business, you want to know your numbers. How much do you want this enterprise to make you in terms of not revenue, money that you can extract out of the business that you're going to live your life with? Because ultimately that's what it's about, right? It's about how do you extract the money you need to live the life that you want.
Just one final thing on that, Nikki, just to address with the dream lifestyle, as we say. I remember going through that process back in the day, and I didn't really know what I was after. I was putting down stupid things. I spent hours on it, building out this perfectly crafted business plan, but then it got just shoved in a drawer and left. And that's why we prefer the step-by-step approach. You know, reviewing it on a weekly and monthly basis, and just looking at like the next 90 days. And there's so much more that you can achieve by doing that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of 90 days. Just looking at it, as Andrew was saying, big business plans, unless you go into the bank to borrow money, they're not really needed. Every time I've wrote a massive business plan, by the time I finish it, my thought process has changed, or the market's changed, and it doesn't really, I hardly ever looked at it. You know, it's only when I went to like 1-page business plans where I just kind of, as we're going to show you now, actually drew out what I want and then just put a number underneath. It was in my sight line. It was in my line of sight every day. It was much easier to just get my brain on track as what I actually wanted. A bit like a vision board, I guess, right? But big business plans are probably not needed for you personally as an entrepreneur. Only if you want to go and borrow money, you probably need them at that point, right? So once you have the actual number, now it's time to reverse engineer your business. And we do this from a conceptual point of view first. So just like an architect has to draw out the map of the skyscraper before they start to build it. Okay, and again, I say I'm surprised, but I'm also not, because most small businesses don't do this. They just get to work and just keep working, which is very humble of them. It's great to work, but you're going to get stuck, right? If you look at it like that, you just get stuck with you, or what we call like a man in a van business, which is you and your van, or a man and his mate and a van business, right? It's just a few of you, and it doesn't really grow beyond that because there's no strategy. There's no conceptualization. You've got no goals. You probably haven't written out actually how much money you actually need. You're probably just thinking, I need this much to survive rather than actually to thrive, right? So the first thing you want to do is conceptualize your business. You want to draw it out all on paper. And you want to base your business model around your lifestyle goals. All right, this is key, right? You want to base your business model around your lifestyle goals because everyone's different and no two businesses should be or need to be the same. Okay, what works for me and Andrew? I mean, we have our goals. We know why we want it, how we want to live, and where everything we do, all our decisions are based on what we set out at the start, right? So you need to do the same, right? Some people want multiple offices around the world. That's cool. Some people don't want an office and want to be freedom to move work off their laptop. And your decisions are going to be different based off kind of the lifestyle you want, right? Everything's possible though, right? Every kind of business works, and it's all been proven out there already. You don't need to make anything up. You just need to find someone who's done it and model them. Okay, that's the easiest and quickest way to get there. You want to base it on money, time, and passion, right? So how much money do you need? We did that on the last drill. what kind of time do you actually want to work? Now, you're going to need to put some time in to build a business, but you don't want to be working all the time, right? You have to have time out of your business. As we said at the start, is lifestyle is really important to build alongside your business, and also what you're passionate about. Because if you're not really passionate about what you do, it's you probably want to do something else. It's difficult to build a business on things that you're not passionate about, with the exception of a few things, right? The sales objective is the critical number. If you hit this, you can fund your lifestyle. So on our example, we talked about if your current lifestyle costs £4,000 and your net profit is 25%, then we need £16,000 worth of sales without you having to actually do any of the work, right? And then it's like, okay, the next question is, how do we do that? Okay, and that's the question we want to ask. And I love that question. When someone asks me, how do I do that? It's a good question, right? Because now I know they're thinking about it rather than the comment, I can't do that, which is a negative kind of thing. Then they're not even thinking about it, right? You're not going to know how to do it. So anytime you're like, okay, how do I do that? How do I do that? That's a great question. You're going in the right direction from a mental point of view, right? If you're answering, say, no, this is not possible, I can't do this because, then we really need to work on your mindset before you try to drive your business forward. It's not going to work if you're still thinking like that, right? This is how you kind of draw out. This is what we call an org chart or an organization chart. Now, every small business is actually going to look the same in terms of how the organizational chart looks. I'm just going to bring Andrew in to explain how organizational charts work and how to build kind of operating procedures for each one, right? So Andrew, you just want to come in and...
Yeah, as Nicky says, guys, this is, no matter what size of business you currently have, you're going to have similar departments or similar hats. If you're a one-man band at the moment, well, you're going to be the CEO. You're the owner of the business. But in your day-to-day role, you're going to be still the technician. So you're going to be doing the day-to-day operations, but also you're going to have to make and find time to do some marketing, which is then going to generate leads, which then ultimately, hopefully generates sales. So you've got your marketing and sales piece. The CFO is Chief Finance Officer. So it's the finances, the numbers, looking after your bookkeeping. We use Xero as our accounting software tool, which makes life a lot easier for us to manage and track our numbers. But again, that's a department within your business. And of course, there's the admin role, following up with customers, answering inquiries, doing the, day-to-day administration tasks, sending letters to the post office or whatever it might be. So they're the key areas there. And it's important then as you grow that you can, as this slide shows, that you then are able to then add further posts below each particular department. So we've picked out the operations department here, where you can start adding contractors or employees into the mix. Now, as Nicky says, we want to, right from the start planning and building out the roles within each department, starting from, your CEO. That's you're the visionary of the business. So in that role, you want to be checking that you're on track, heading in the right direction, in line with your goals and your mission. Then in each of the other roles, we're looking to map out, job descriptions for each particular position in that department, so that you're looking at future growth, as you bring in employees or contractors, that you can show them when you sit down with them in the interview process what's expected of them. They've got a clear outline of the role that they're going to play. But equally importantly, having a visual piece of the organization chart, they can see where they fit into the actual overall framework of the business, and they can see that there's potential growth and development in their role, that they can ascend into potentially managerial positions if that's your goal, to build a bigger business, or that they can see that there's other opportunities on hand as well. But it's a key process, and it helps you really visualize and document and build ultimately an operations manual for that business, so it becomes a saleable asset in time if you choose to do so.
Yeah, so going back, great stuff. Some of this, when we went back to just going to put this down into the maths we were using earlier on. If we know that you want to build a business that generates 16,000 revenue a month to generate you 4,000, let's not worry about VAT or tax at the moment. Just like conceptual. Okay, and let's say you're a plumber and you charge people on a monthly basis. Let's say £100 a month. And we need to generate 16,000, and we know we need to make 160 sales or have 160 clients paying £100 each to generate 16,000 worth of monthly revenue ongoing, right? So now we have a solid sales objective. Our marketing plan is just going to be based on generating that many sales. Okay, you can actually then it's like, okay, how many employees or how many plumbers is it going to take my business to service 160 clients? Okay, now I'm not a plumber, but I'm just, so again, this is all hypothetical. Let's say one plumber could handle 80 clients. Then we know, okay, we need a business that has two employees or two plumbers to handle that level of business, right? So conceptually, that's how you would map out and reverse engineer your organizational chart, right? If that makes sense, right? Now, if you wanted to step that up, let's say, and let's add a zero, and you wanted what would be 160,000 a month, then obviously the business gets bigger, right? Now, as the business gets bigger, you're going to have like different people in different positions in your business that are not actually making the money for you. So the org charts kind of break down into different sections. So if you look at the marketing and sales, at this level of business, you might need an assistant and a sales assistant, which are going to cost you money, but they don't actually make any of the money because that's your plumbers, right? Let's say if there's still a plumbing operation. So it's great you can earn more money, but you are going to need a bigger business, which leads to different skills development needed for you as an entrepreneur, right? It goes from actually learning how to build systems to actually learning how to lead people at that level, which is a very, very different skill set. But it's one that is great once you're at that point. But it's really important. This is why it's really important to know your number. Okay, how big do you want your business to be? Because obviously with this many positions in a business, it changes things and it adds a little bit more stress until you get to the point where you're able to develop leaders per se, right? So this is kind of how you would reverse engineer your business. Again, I'm just going to bring Andrew onto this slide here.
Yeah, look, this is an important process to follow, guys, because I remember, and I know Nicky's the same. We've talked about this many times, that, you know, as a business owner, you wear many hats, particularly at the outset. Yeah. You've got so many, as I call it, you have so much noise in your head and if you don't jot down things, you can forget various items. So periodically, when I have that noise in my head, those voices, as I call them, taking time out. Now, we call it a brain dump because it's entirely that. It's just getting out what's in our head down onto paper. And that's the initial process. And I just generally will grab a pen and a notepad, and I'll sit down and I'll just write down, all the items that I need to get done, all the tasks that I generally do. Then alongside that, I'm jotting down how much time it generally takes each of those tasks to be done. And then I generally get a marker pen and different colors, and I'll jot down what's an admin task, what might be a marketing task, what might be an operations task. So I can clearly see then, by dividing them up, how much operations time am I spending time on? How much admin time am I spending time on? Because then we can look at delegating those particular items. With that as well, and being clear on what procedures that we have in place, we can then start documenting that and putting together a simple step-by-step checklist or instruction guide on how to complete a particular task. For example, one that I do within our business is looking after our cash dash, or updating our accounting. So I can document, step 1, go here, step 2, do this, step 3, do that, so that, hey, if I was unavailable for any time, Nikki or anybody else coming in to assist would be able to pick up that checklist, that instruction guide, and be able to effectively complete that task as if it was me. And that, over time, by building up these operational procedures, completes your operations guide. This now then allows you to be able to, as you bring on team members, you've got these checklists, these procedure guides to quickly upskill and train staff so that they can do these tasks for you, freeing up your time to again be that visionary and make sure the business is moving forward, but also giving you that time to empower and develop your staff and giving them the support that they need.
I was just going to touch on something that Andrew said there. It's really important to start working your way out of certain positions within your business. Now, you don't necessarily need employees, but you're going to need people to help you. Let's say for the CFO or the accounting, a lot of small businesses won't have enough money to employ someone to be a full-time chief financial officer. So we're going to need to contract out to getting bookkeepers, hiring accountants like SRK to do that role for us, right? But we still need to kind of have an idea of what we want from that position, right? So it's really important to document that position, and they'll feed back with you what they need. And then it's like, can someone else do some of that work for me? So can if I hire an admin for, let's say, £7, £8, £9 an hour, can he or she take the receipts that I collect and then hand it over to the accountants, rather than me spending 5, 6, 7 hours a week or a month on that? Because that 5 to 6 hours of time is really going to come in use for you to develop your business, or just take time out and kind of live your lifestyle. So as Andrew was saying, it's really important to build a step-by-step guide of every single task in your business. And then think about, if I go back to this slide here, is find, train, and manage staff to actually do some of the work for you. Now, when I say staff, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a full-time employee. It could just be a part-time contractor doing some of the work. As you grow, then you're more likely to move to employees. But initially, when you're small, your business won't have enough cash flow or stability to take on full-time staff. So you're going to need contractors to start with. It's really important to delegate and train staff to complete this task though, right? So you really got to work with your team. We're not going to cover this too much on this webinar, but you can't just give people a task and expect them to do it. It's very, very unlikely it's going to work that way. You have to spend some time actually nurturing the staff to do the job that or the way you want it done, right? Okay, so moving on to the work, rest, and play formula, right? So remember, we've talked about the sales, why that number is so important to then conceptualize your business, and then actually building an organizational chart to, okay, this is how big I need my business to be to generate X amount of profit out the other side. Okay, just like building a skyscraper. I want a 50-floor skyscraper, so I'm going to need to dig this many foundations, this deep down to get this high up. And you draw it out first, and then you get to work on building it, right? Now, the work, rest, and play formula is really key to avoid burnout. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I learned the hard way. I burnt out big time and had something called adrenal fatigue, and learned my lesson. You know, like you'd think that being a personal trainer is a kind of a healthy lifestyle, but I mean, getting up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to get to 6 o'clock clients and then finishing at 10 at night, and then doing the same thing 5, 6 days a week, it takes its toll on you, right? And you're trying to look good to your clients along the way, but inside you are absolutely blasted. You're knackered, you're tired, right? So it does burn you out. And you try to build a business when you're doing all the technical work, you'll burn out very fast. What I'm trying to say is you cannot do this on your own, and you need to manage your life, or manage yourself, as we say, before you manage your business. This is something I picked up on a workshop I went to a few years ago, and it was something, well, more than a few years ago now, but it's something that when I implemented was a real game changer in my own life, and also Andrew's. And it's like this: holidays are not a reward for work done. They're necessary for you to prepare for work to do. What I mean by that is most people think, oh, I'll get all this stuff done and then I'll go on holiday as a reward, right? that's the exact wrong thing to do, right? Because if you take a holiday, it normally takes me about 2, 3, or 4 days for my brain to kind of defunction from my work. As an entrepreneur, I'm always thinking about progress, always thinking about work. After about day 4, my brain's kind of switched, and it's like, okay, I'm truly on holiday mode now. And that's when the creative juices start to flow through my mind, right? So it's like, now all these problems that I've had in life and in business that I couldn't solve because my brain's just functioning all the time, because I've let it relax, the creative side starts to get to work. And then these ideas just pop up in my head. I thought, what? And it's so simple, but because I didn't give my brain enough time to think about them, I wasn't able to generate in my mind during my normal work week, right? So holidays are super important to schedule into your diary every year. This is one of the drills we actually use our clients to do. And it's kind of a non-negotiable drill when people work with us. The first thing we do is, before we start on their business or anything else, that we look at their calendar. This was my calendar last year. I didn't have a picture of this year, but what we would do is, okay, get your calendar out, and we want you to map out the time that you're going to take away from your business first. All right. Before we get to work on building your business, it's going to be, we need to block out sufficient time in your diary where you give your body, your mind, your emotional strength time to regenerate. Okay. And a lot of people look at us and think, this is crazy, this will never work, right? Until they do it. Yeah. And when they do it, they realize the benefits, because here's what happens, right? Is you feel fully recovered and fully regenerated, that when you get back to actually building your business, you are super hungry. Okay. You're super motivated and you're ready to go. That kind of wears off. I mean, if you work like most people shut down on a Thursday, never mind a Friday, right? And they don't give themselves even the weekend to recover. But if you have a weekend to recover, Monday, you're ready to get going again. It's really important you have that downtime if you want to build a business, because make no mistake about it, this is a long game, right? This is not something that's going to happen over 90 days. It is going to take 3, 4, 5 years plus to get where you need to get to, but it is possible. Andrew also runs this drill himself. Andrew, do you want to share some of the stuff that you feel when you run this exercise?
Yeah, look, as you say, I just managed to avoid the adrenal fatigue piece when I was back in the day. But I banged my head because, I was always working and then looking to take the holiday as a reward. But as Nicky says, you'd end up taking a few days to really recover. But I was finding, because I was running on empty by that stage, my immune system was so low, I was running on adrenaline, that each and every time we went away on holiday, I ended up for the first week being ill. I'd get a cold or something. So it's only when you actually reverse the process and plan out accordingly ahead of time that you've got that time. Then in between those gaps, you've got the energy, then your battery's fully loaded to really plow into a particular project and get so much more done. It reminds me of the story, I think, of the woodcutter. I think it was Abraham Lincoln saying that, that if he was going to cut down a number of trees, he would sit there for the first few hours sharpening a saw, which is recharging your batteries, rather than just ploughing endlessly trying to chop down a tree with a blunt axe. So certain key processes, and this is why, as Nicky says, it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, I mean, like we don't want our clients to burn out, right? So it's really important that they look after themselves before they look after their business, right? And it's when you do this, you're gonna find what works best for you. I went through trying, okay, what happens if I take one holiday every 12 weeks? Once every 6 weeks. When I say holiday, it's not necessarily a fancy holiday. It's just getting away from our business. So it could still be in the UK, but I'm definitely out of the house, because if I'm in the house, then my laptop's there. If I've got nothing to do, I'm going to get to work, right? So I try to get away from anything work related. I went to once every 6 weeks, I was lucky enough to go once every 3 weeks, but I found that was too much, right? So I kind of thought, I kind of work best if I take a long break or a short break once every 6 to 7 weeks, which is what this diagram shows here. Now, the length of time that I go away is going to be different. Sometimes I only need a weekend. Sometimes I'm going to need a lot longer. And this is not set in stone. This is just a rough idea. I'd say what you see here, about 50% I did and 50% I changed around, but at least I had something to go from. And that's the key thing. A lot of people won't even have that planned into the diary, right? Now, if you have children, you're probably going to need to map this out around the holidays. But do put it down. What you're going to find is it's like the weekend. When you know the weekend's coming, you've got time off, you look forward to it. When you look at the yearly planner and you know you've got time off, you tend to work much harder and much better because you know you've got time to rest and play, right? And this is why we call this the work, rest, and play formula. If you don't rest and play, then work becomes a chore. And it's no fun when it's a chore, right? So, and this is what we were talking about, building your lifestyle and business at the same time, right? You can have fun and you can enjoy the whole thing, but you have to manage it. You have to actually to write it down in the yearly planner, but then also in the weekly planner. So as a weekly planner, a good way to do it, both me and Andrew do it, is just color code it. This was what my week looked like last week. So I'm just going to roughly show you and explain what I did. So the green time is really when I work with clients, and it's green. It's just more the money time. The orange time is like my business development time, and then this is more valuable to me than actually working with clients, right? Because this is where I can actually develop the systems and the processes to either work my way out of doing coaching with clients and get someone else to do it, or build better infrastructure or better systems for clients to actually use, right? As Andrew was saying about sharpening the saw, if you have Warren Buffett said this a lot in one of his films, is I spend 6 hours reading and then 2 hours doing, and that's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And he's super successful, right? Most people would do 7 hours, 59 minutes doing and 1 minute reading, right? And that's why he is where he is and where most people are where they are. And this is the business development time. If I don't know what I'm doing in that time, then I'll pick up a book and start reading or learning. How do I do this? It goes back to that question, how do I do this, right? So on Tuesday, if I'm reading, then on Wednesday, I actually know what I'm doing, and I would get that done, right? But that's what actually grows your business so you can actually live your lifestyle. Admin and management meetings are always there, and you'll see there's plenty of white space within the diary. White space is really, really critical. As Andrew was saying earlier on, as a small business owner, you're going to wear many different hats. For me personally, what I find is if I'm coaching clients, my brain is set for that frequency. It's very difficult for me then to quickly switch and do marketing. It takes me about an hour to just relax my brain before it gets up to function again, where I can think about another task. And you'll see why most people get stressed out in the workplace is because they don't have that downtime, and I find I'm much more effective personally when I have that downtime. Over the space of a week or a month, I get much more done than if I'm back to back, right? And it's the quality of work rather than the quantity. Also, what you need to schedule in your weekly diary is actually your personal stuff, right? Which is the blue time, right? And I would suggest that you do this first before you put any of the work stuff in. What do you want to do personally? What do you want to do within your lifestyle? Both me and Andrew made this mistake when we first built our business. I loved playing football. As I was building my first business, PT Studio, I didn't play for about 3 years, and it was just total focus on my business, which I thought was the way to go. The funny thing happened when I started to play football. I said, I'm going to take one day off. I took Tuesday evenings off. It cost me a little bit of money because I had to get rid of some clients, but I was just so much happier. I was just so much happier for doing some stuff that I wasn't doing. So when I went back to my business, I just enjoyed the whole process a lot better. And it goes back to that saying that the journey is just as important, if not more important, than the destination. Andrew also kind of runs this. I'm just going to throw it off to him. How do you manage your diary, and have you got any tips for the listener?
You've covered it really well, Nicky. But the important point here is, as you said, is putting in that personal time straight off. I nearly lost my relationship through not doing that. I was working hard at my business, focused on growing it, knew that I needed to put extra time in to get it off the ground and that. But I took my focus away from, the important people and important things in my life. And it almost cost me. It was only in realizing that I'd got this the wrong way around and I needed to block in my personal time first, and then everything else would fit around that, success happens, you get traction, you get momentum, and you're able to move forward. So mine would look similar to what Nikki's got here. I agree with the client time. You need that free space to be able to just chill, transition to other key areas. And the only thing that Nikki hasn't put in this that I know that we both do is that we'll make time for working out, getting to the gym or going to play football, as he says, to be active, to look after ourselves, so that we can then look after those people that are important to us.
Yeah, being in shape physically helps massively when it comes to running a business. It's an absolute no-brainer, man. It's so important. And don't think this is not possible, because we have working mothers or people that have to look after their children. So they only have, they do the school drop, and then they've got like maybe from 9:30 to 2:30 to work on their business. Then they've got to become a mother again. So the question is, how do we build a business with that time? What can we do that's going to work for you? And it comes down to, okay, how much money do you want to make? We already know your time restrictions. This is what we've got. Let's figure out how we're going to build your business based on your lifestyle. And so it is possible. It just takes a kind of a different mindset. And we're really hoping this webinar can help you with that mindset to see, look, this is possible. You just need to map it out, think a little bit different, and really build your lifestyle alongside your business.
I agree, and just adding to that, Nikki, I think I can't remember the actual concept around it, but there's a rule that those that are time crunched, I think, or get a lot more done because they need to, because they know that they've only got that amount of time. Anyone else, if they've not got any real time commitments, the length of time just expands out. We'll fill that time with doing stuff. So by mapping it out as it shows on the screen here now, we'll pay dividends, and you will get so much more done. You'll be much more efficient, and you'll be a lot happier as well.
Yeah, that's so true. And something I probably didn't say. So I'll give you an example of what Andrew was saying. See this creating clients time 1 till 3 on a Tuesday. So this is really how we create clients. So it's like, okay, how do we market and sell to get more clients for our business? It's on the clock, right? So if it starts at 1 and finishes at 3, I've got 2 hours. What can I get done in that time? As soon as 3 o'clock comes, finished. You know what I mean? That allows me to be really productive in them 2 hours, because I know I've got that white space afterwards. And it's almost like the same as the holiday every 6 weeks, because I know I've got that rest time. It allows my brain to be more focused, more concentrated in that time frame. Now, I personally use a couple of different strategies. I can't go 2 hours straight, so I might do 20-30 minutes of work, have a little 10-minute grab, and then do it again for 2 hours. If you can focus for 2 hours, great, do it. But again, everyone's different. You have to find out what's the best for you. We've got some clients that like doing 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off. Others will just go straight. Everyone's different. But the important thing is to just really focus within that time block. And you'd be amazed how much you actually get done, as Andrew was saying, if you actually limit how much time you could do, because otherwise you'll just take it over as long as you want, right? And this is where deadlines are so important. If you've got a deadline, you'll get the work done. You've got to get that project done. And it's something that me and Andrew constantly give to our clients is like, look, we've got this project, this has got to be done by this time. And it always gets done, right?
What I want you guys to take away from this is the concept, and then it's working through it yourself, which we're coming on to now, and then discussing it with somebody just so that you can be clear on what you need to do.
So Andrew's going to just kind of run over the action steps that you can actually take from the stuff that you've learned today on today's webinar.
Yeah, so basically, guys, what we started out with was looking at working out that lifestyle cost and the cost of running your business. So we had the worksheet at the very start there, where you would map out where you are currently, then looking at moving up through the levels to the happy days, and then ultimately the dream lifestyle. So that's the start point. Then getting that annual planner, those wall charts are great because they're in your line of sight, as Nikki says, where you can block out your work, rest, and play time initially on that annual planner, and then pulling from that into your weekly action plan. mapping that out onto your calendar. Now, some of you might like to carry around like a physical diary that you do that. That's perfectly fine. Others might want to use your calendar on your phone or on your computer. Hey, they all work. The key point is that we've got those weekly and annual calendars that we can refer to. That then allows us to really drill down and get stuff done. And you'll find by working through the process that you'll become a much more effective and efficient at things. And then point 3 is mapping out, the business, getting that organization chart done, having the job descriptions, those things in play, and breaking down all of the tasks that you do that are relevant to each of the parts, positions on the organization chart, so that ultimately over time, and that time might be 6, 12, 18 months or more, you've mapped out a complete operations manual for your business. But these are the key elements where we start whenever we're working with any of our coaching clients, and it gives them a good foundation to start with. And like when you're building a house, if you've got that solid foundation to begin with, you can build a much stronger house, building a much stronger life and lifestyle that you lead, and having that business to support that lifestyle.
The goal of any business really should be, how can I make this business work without too much of my involvement? I think it's quite a little bit of a myth to be totally free of your business. There's always going to be some at least thinking or strategic work or management, or if you get to a point where you've got a good team running everything, you're still going to need to talk to these people, have some involvement. But the less involvement you have, and if you create that income, which goes with the original goal we set at the start of the webinar, then that frees the time up, right? So, and that's where a lot of business owners get stuck. They're able to make some money, but they're stuck because they've got no time to actually be with family or do the things that they want to do. So really the holy grail of any small business is, how can I create the money and the time to do what I want to do? Okay. And as I said, or as we said at the start of the webinar, it doesn't need to be in millions. You'd be amazed at how much £5,000-10,000 a month of disposable income can get you. It can get you just about everything you need, right? So it's just about having that mindset of, okay, what do I need? How am I going to create that? And how am I going to create that income without me actually having to do most of the technical work? Okay. Or if I decided to go on holiday, would my business still pay me enough money or more than enough money to pay for it while I'm away, right? That's kind of the holy grail. And that's kind of what me and Andrew do. We kind of like really here to help you guys develop a business to support a lifestyle. So if you have any questions, feel free to email Andrew or myself at the following email addresses, or you can get in touch with the SRK Accounting team, who will pass your details over to us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. You should have had that lifestyle Excel sheet where you could fill in your lifestyle numbers. How much does it cost you to live? Like I said, if you need any help, just give us a shout. I would like just to thank SRK Accounting for giving us the opportunity to do this webinar. We really hope it helped you. We covered a lot in a short period of time, and I know, like, especially me, I can talk really fast. So go back and just do bit by bit. And I would just like to say thank you. I hope this helped you, and I'm just going to hand it over to Andrew to finish the webinar.
Yeah, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on the call today, talking through what we do with our clients, and hopefully helping give some clarity to each and every one of you listening, that everything's possible so long as we have a structured plan in place. And if you switch it around 180 degrees and focus on that lifestyle you want to lead, and then we build that business around that to support that. So as Nikki says, we've gone through a lot. Please, by all means, if you need any further guidance, support, or have any questions, the emails are here on the screen now. So we'd be delighted to talk through and to see how many days that you have left to enjoy this life that we lead. But thanks again, guys, for listening today.
All right. Speak to you later. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Bye for now.